We want to be surprised. We need to be surprised. All of my clients like to say, hey, we're different. We want to show people we're different. Well, show, don't tell, right? Show me how you're different. Put me into one thing right away that will build my curiosity and give you more time. But if I don't feel like there's something in it for me right away, people always, what's in it for me? I need to know what's in it for me, or I'm going to stop listening and pick up my phone and flip through what's inside my phone.
And with Bjorn, Hollywood storyteller and best-selling author who co-founded a studio behind Oscar-nominated films, he created a formula for startups to win investors fast. So in your scene thinking framework, you emphasize the importance of the first scene. Why is the opening moment of a pitch so critical?
Phrase first impressions is something that we've all known since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
Now, for founders, I work with founders, I work with businesses of all sizes, and I oftentimes observe what's going on inside rooms and in calls and wherever people are listening to stories. First thing I really want to emphasize is that people come into any story environment, looking to discover something. Discovery is huge. We love it so much. We have a channel called it. And so you might see your colleagues or your clients every day. You're still, when you meet them or talk to them, you still are looking to discover something. Those first few seconds are you make up your mind on whether or not you're going to discover something today in this meeting in this call. So you've got two sides. You've got the person who's telling the story, you've got the person who's listening to the story. The person who's telling the story, that first question, I'm always telling my clients, listen, what is the one thing that you most acknowledge that is of most valuable to your story? And this is where a lot of founders, and not just founders, but companies of all sizes, my clients are massive asset managers. They want to tell, we've got 10 things that are really important. I said, well, that's great, but you'll never be able to get 10 things inside someone's overloaded brain, right? So what's the one thing that really encapsulates your story and helps you best get a discovery process? Where should we begin? Let's begin with the definition of storytelling. And this is really, storytelling is one thing. It's problem solving. If there is no problem solved, there's no story. And in business, oftentimes the story is not the end. There won't be an end to it. It's a long process. But as long as you're thinking in terms of problem solving, you will never deviate too far from where the story needs to be. And a story is made up of scenes. One scene at a time. Put me in the scene. We live in a scene. And when I bring up scene thinking, what's that? And I oftentimes use the easiest example that's completely relatable to all of us. And what do you do on your phone all day? You flip through scenes, one scene at a time. So scene thinking really just evolved out of what we're doing as a planet. I started my business 25 years ago, and the word storytelling was something that people were like, storytelling? That's what I do with my child every night at bedtime. I'm like, no. I had to ease into it. I was doing a lot of public speaking, coaching with public speaking, but we know that the best speakers and presenters and storytellers and teachers that we've encountered and experienced in our lives usually have the best stories. So it allowed me to bring storytelling into it. And then social media came along, and now we know where we're at with storytelling. And there isn't a single company out there or founder or anybody who doesn't believe that they are not telling a story. We're all telling stories. That's all we do all day, every day. And founders in particular are always selling. Founders are selling. They're constantly having to sell something. That's what they do. Pitching, selling. But inside those stories is a whole bunch of scenes. And the scenes are everything. A story is made up of scenes. I like to call them the living scenes as being the living, breathing source code of the story. Living and breathing, scene always changing.
So can you give an example of what one scene. For example, so this is a story, right? Give us an example of a story and then the scenes within it.
Should we start? I'm going to start with the story. And we make up our minds very.
Uh-huh.
If we come in wanting to discover something, how knowing that the other side wants to discover something, what am I going to do? And I spend a lot of time thinking of emotions and feelings. And the first thing I always ask my client, if you've got this big itch, for example, or this thing coming up, how would you like the other side being the client, feel? How do you want them to feel when they come out the other side of your story? How do you want them to feel? Well, I want them to feel like we're the right partner, or we have the right product, or strategy, something that they need. Then let's work backwards and figure out how we're going to present that. One of the biggest, and I think the most underrated and undervalued word in storytelling is the word surprise. We want to be surprised. We need to be surprised. All of my clients like to say, hey, we're different. We want to show people we're different. Well, show, don't tell, right? Show me how you're different. Show me the problem solving involved in. Put me into one thing right away that will build my curiosity and give you more time. I'll ask you some questions if I'm curious about you. But if I don't feel like there's something in it for me right away, and that's the big thing. People always, what's in it for me?
Yeah.
I need to know what's in it for me, or I'm going to stop listening and pick up my phone and flip through this inside my phone. And so storytelling, being problem solving, it's like, all right, I'm going to have to show that very, very, very quickly. Only takes one. Let's narrow this down to one. So a lot of my work with my clients is just getting something, one thing. And then if you capture the audience, whatever, with that one thing, maybe they'll give you more of their curiosity to learn a few other things. But if you set them on their way thinking, this is interesting, and you look at the eyes of the people and you see their minds are drifting, perfect. Because you've planted something in their brains, a living, breathing scene that allows them to understand, all right, I get where your problem solving is. Things, Panida, we're meeting this client next week, and I don't think we have something that exactly fits what they want. And it's not about trying to fit exactly into the other side's thinking. The other side wants to see and feel how you're thinking, how you're thinking. This is different. This is surprise. And if I start feeling that you're different and you're surprising, I'm probably going to want to meet you again. Put me in that scene. Make me feel something. A lot of my clients say, well, we don't invest emotionally. It's not how we invest. Well, you might not make your final judgment based on emotions and feeling. What brought you to that story? What got you closer to that story? Is something that you felt you wanted to learn more. That starts right away. Netflix had that stat over. You make up your mind in 5 seconds what you want to watch. And they have all this data on their Netflix platform where people are jumping around, and they figured out people make up their mind in 5 seconds. A lot can be done in 5 seconds. Yeah. But as long as we're thinking, what do I want people to discover? How do I want them to feel? What do I want to discover? And then deliver in the eyes. You'll be well on your way. And thinking started from this platform of everybody talking about storytelling, but no one really sure what storytelling was.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's definitely an issue.
Is storytelling, or have a lot of clients of just all sizes, CEOs, executive all the way CEO, quietly coming up to me going, Bjorn, listen, my boss wants me to be a better storyteller, but my English isn't so great, or my Chinese isn't so great, or my not so great, or whatever. Let's not worry about that. We're just going to tackle your story one scene at a time. And it became this platform that organically grew my business in the right way, because we're not just selling stories, we're selling scenes more than ever. Go on, what's happening out there? It's just scenes. And we extracting value from. So what I do is I come in with my clients who have tons of content, And we sit down and we go through their scenes. And they'll show me their PowerPoint scenes. No more decks. No more decks. A deck? What's a deck? A scene. Show me your scenes. Okay. And here's our, and I used to work in Microsoft, so I helped to sew. It's a scene tool. All right. Well, scene 9, have a look at. It's really interesting when we circle that point. Tell me about that. And then we get into a discussion of extracting value from a scene and building what I call these 3-minute story structures. The 3-minute model's been really successful for me because 3-minute storytelling is pretty unintimidating.
Yeah.
I want to work with you, Panida, on 3-minute storytelling. 3 minutes. We can easily craft up nine great scenes. And when we work on the delivery of that, oftentimes it only takes 2 minutes. It doesn't even take 3 because you can tell a great story very, very quickly if you've got the right scenes. 15 years ago when I started SceneThinking, and the whole basis of SceneThinking was, okay, extracting problem-solving value from your, what does AI, right? They're out there extracting problem-solving value from your scenes. Every time we feed Google, the AI just extracts value from that and learns. So, and I'm not saying that SceneThinking was ahead of the game ahead of AI. Well, maybe it was, but the concept is the same. And so with AI around, change what we're doing, we're still extracting from scenes because at the end of the day, there's always going to be a human on the other side of a piece of communications.
Yeah, definitely. Found it very interesting when you said that you only need to present the one thing to interest investor with something surprising. Because I think a lot of people, they think they need to give a bunch of information and that is what people want. But actually what you're trying to say is just one thing, and that has to be the most interesting scene that solves their problem and their imagination.
I want to bring up a really important word. I have these 9 characters of scene. I'll sprinkle a few of them in here today. One is discovery, right? Discovery is a character. Tom Cruise is a character, but Tom Cruise was out there and discovers things. We follow Tom Cruise's discoveries. We follow the decisions and choices that Tom Cruise makes. And I feel for because stories and storytellers and founders are making decisions and choices every day. So as an investor, I want to know what types of decisions and choices you are making. And so that one thing, and I think one of the most important, there's a lot of important words, but for me, this is one of those words that I spent years trying to understand and workshops around one word, acknowledgement. We know the word acknowledgement from contracts. Sign here that you accept. It's binding. And once you've acknowledged acceptance, you have a certain responsibility, right? You're committed to that. We see it on phones. Click yes and accept the cookies, and you hope you don't get abused, right? But you're acknowledging, right?
Yeah.
Straighten up and nodding your head. And that's acknowledgement. Something where maybe you get something, right? Somebody smiles at us. That's an acknowledgement. Hey, I like your shoes. That's an acknowledgement. We live in this world of acknowledgement. We all understand it. We all relate to it. So when I work with, again, companies of all, I'll ask the founders or I'll ask the CEOs or whoever's in charge, what one thing do you acknowledge as being the most important to this story? I know you 10 things, but what's the one thing that you think really encapsulates that? And then once they say, well, I acknowledge this, they've just signed the emotional contract that they're bound to that. They really feel that's the most valuable part of the story. Perhaps the most interesting problem solving can be shaped. I always get this, well, what if the other side doesn't like it? Well, you never, if you impress 100% of the people, 100% of the time, then wow, never happens. But people come, as I say, to discover something. But what they're coming to discover is what you acknowledge as being important. You wouldn't be starting this business unless you acknowledged a need for this business.
So it's what sparked why you started that business in the first place, that one thing.
That's what it is. It really is basic. It's this one thing. I started around one thing, my love of storytelling. And I was telling the tech story at Microsoft. without really understanding I was telling a story. But I was just showing small businesses how to use Excel, for example. And so it was all about the story, right? And so then I went off and studied screenwriting at UCLA for a little bit, and the business of professional storytelling jumped out at me. And then I realized, oh, this is what I love. We're all selling stories. Storytelling has been around forever, thousands and thousands. And so I thought, well, okay. The reception I got was cold because it just wasn't the right time. And that's fine. It was fine. But at the end of the day, I stuck with what I acknowledged as being the most important thing in need of problem solving. People weren't telling and selling stories very well yet. We're better at it, but we're still, because there's a lot of shouting going on. I'm great, we're great, I'm different. Hey, well, surprise me. Just something different that's really going to make me go, wow, I want to meet with you again. Well, years ago, I started thinking about the phrase less is more. It's a funny phrase and we hear it all the time. But what does it mean in storytelling or in a pitch? Inspire me with less. Let's have a conversation with more. I don't have a lot of time. We have 15 minutes to talk today. Inspire me with less so that I want to have a conversation with more. And just give me that one thing. Hey, Panida, we met last week.
Yeah.
You said this one thing. It was really cool. It was different. We hear that all the time.
Yeah. People say that.
One thing. It's rarely, hey, you said 10 things last week. Impossible. Our brain science can only really think of 7 things at the same time, maybe 2, but that's true, right? We have things going on in our world. It's hard to jam all this other stuff in there. So back to that acknowledgement. What do you acknowledge is the most important thing? And let us begin there. Let us use the platform. And then we start developing our scenes. Again, scenes are the living, breathing source code of the story. And tech people can tell us what source code's all about. And they know it. Like, my app has got a few problems. Well, let's go into the source code and figure out what's the problem. Well, our pitch last week didn't go so well. Okay, let's go into the scene source code. And they really drilled down on this. Okay, our scene source code is telling us we better be more specific about the problem solving in that scene.
Because I feel like a lot of people, especially people who have been through a pitch and maybe it didn't go well, right? And they analyze it, maybe they would be quite hard on themselves, but if that would be quite a way to detach from the story, just really analyze what went wrong and which scene needed refinements.
Absolutely right. That's why I moved from being a storytelling strategist to a scene thinking strategist.
Yeah.
Because I got to the core of what a story is. And they were telling me they were overwhelmed by the thought of trying to be a better storyteller when they couldn't. I can't do this. It was like climbing this. Well, one scene at a time. That took the pressure off. I was 32 years in Asia, and I worked with a lot of people whose English isn't so great, or any language is great, but we work together around these scene thinking strategies in languages that they want to work. I don't need to understand any language fluently because we're just diving into your scenes. I'm going to help you extract value. You can then articulate that in the language that you want, but as long as you're sticking to your scenes. Scenes are the story gravities. And we know from people what happens when there's no gravity.
Yeah.
We see the winning.
Exactly.
Scenes are the gravity that brings us into, keeps us there. We know the gravity's, I'm bored. I'm floating away. I don't understand why I should be here. There's no scene gravity. There's no story. There's no problem solving gravity inside the scene. So you float away. When you was a founder, I love to ask this question. Okay, you're going into this pitch. If you have one scene that you are really, really comfortable and confident with, then you're ready. If the answer is no, then you probably need to work a little harder to get there. It just takes one because that's all the other side wants. Thanks for coming today. There is one thing that we have been working on at our company that has absolutely surprised us. And we want to share that with you today. Well, it's as simple as that. One thing. Okay, I'll give you time. I come in and say, there's 5 things I'd like to tell you, Anita, and you'd be like, already looking at what?
Sure thing.
I don't know if I have the time. Texting now. We are funny. We humans are really, really funny. Curious people, all of
Yeah.
us. And we're just out there trying to discover. We're scanning scenes.
Yeah, definitely.
People who listen to this podcast, hope there are many, we're scanning for some scenes that they can take out. You're on a conference call and everyone's around the table and you're talking to that microphone in the middle of the table. We've all been there. We can see the mind scanning for something that's coming. You're scanning. We just scan constantly. We're constantly scanning. Seeing, so unlocking problem-solving value, which is what it has been doing for a couple of decades.
So you've described your AI communications work through human AI evolution. How should did I get that
Thanks.
right? How
Thank
should
you.
founders think about AI when it comes to storytelling?
Thanks for bringing up human evolution. So humans, we've been evolving as a species for a long, long time. And we made the decision, we humans made the decision to bring AI into our lives. We decided to create it.
Yeah.
If it's a Frankenstein or not in your world, I don't know. But the Frankenstein has left the building. And when it's out there doing some great things. By the way, I'm a huge optimist. I'm an AI optimist. I believe that we humans are going to work really well with the AI. But we need to tell the AI how we want to work with it. We created it. We can tell it how we want to work with it. Now, all of us have heard the doomsday of this, and we got to be careful. We've heard it all. And it's from to talk about this. What I'm really fascinated by, and this is how human evolution came up, is humans evolving alongside AI. Human AI evolution are evolving together. And let's set some boundaries, not block it, because we can't, but to say, listen, this is how I want to talk to you. And this is how I'd like you to talk to me. And that sounds kind of weird right now, because we really don't know where this is going. It's every day it's changing. So as we evolve, AI evolves. We created it. We made the decision. We decided to discover AI. So we like to continue to discover with it in order to best get along with it. My imagination, let's reimagine our world. Imagination is one of the biggest things of storytelling. What imagination are we bringing to our problem solving now more than ever? When I talk to executives at Meta and Google, and they all say that every day they're reminded you have to bring your imagination to work. You must bring your imagination to work. It's the biggest missing element for a lot of companies and a lot of people who feel they're not imaginative. Now we can reimagine our world. It's giving us the license. We created it. It's now giving us the license to reimagine. Let's reimagine a world with AI and then come up with some stuff that, hey, this is how I'd like to use it. I'm reimagining my world looking at this. Maybe AI can help us with this. Great. And then go on your way to creating that story, that problem solving in conjunction, human evolution with AI. We humans have been thinking that way forever. AI is what's in it for me too. Extracting value from scenes, right? That's what scene thinking is. And that's how it started over 15 years ago. So as you just said, you told your friend how to talk. Tell the AI how you want the AI to talk to you. So the AI extracts that value from what your friend said to it. And we're constantly pulling value from scenes. That's what we do. Whether our friends or movies, television shows. I love to watch the first 3 minutes of television shows and films because you'll see very, very quickly what's happening. And you'll know very, very quickly if you want to continue. Is there enough problems from that I can relate to? Are there discoveries? Or is there a chance maybe for me to see interesting discoveries and decisions? If you look at these founders, Elon Musk, he's constantly putting us in these scenes of him doing some wild things, making interesting and surprising decisions around discoveries. He's constantly keeping us in the scene. Right? And well, Elon Musk is the only person that can tell that story. I don't know if he's the only person, but certainly he's the best person to tell that story. But the great thing is, Panida, we can all be great storytellers if we treat our scenes, they're assets. Our scenes are our assets. They are our most important asset. It's the story. No, but scenes make up the story. Stories don't make up the scenes. Came first, scenes. So treat your scenes like that they are. Think about your scenes. Manage your scenes. constantly talk about your scenes. I joke with companies, who's your chief scene officer?
Uh,
Honestly, that's all you're selling. So your marketing team might say, well, we are. Well, then maybe one of your marketing people should become the chief scene officer, because that's it. And that's all we're passing. And that's all we do, right? And we know it
Yeah.
and we feel it. We wake up, dream in scenes. We wake up, we move through our day in scenes. We go back to bed and we dream in scenes.
I really like what you said when you said treat your scenes like gold, the gold they are, because that is true. Because we may not all be Elon Musk, but we are ourselves, and we all have really interesting that we can just bring out, because everyone has value they can share. And you don't need to, it doesn't even need to be a big story. If you can just get a small moment of your day that you find particularly interesting, that could become a great conversation starter for anything.
Absolutely right. And just sharing scenes back
Yeah.
and forth all day with our friends, with our business partners, with the people we don't even know, but we're looking at their Instagram. It's just constant sharing of scenes going. And it just takes one to change everything. So many times I'm surprised somebody tells me one thing I didn't know about them or about their product.
Yeah.
And it's just, it changes absolutely everything. So get out there, founders, go out there and take some chances. I have this long shot meeting next week. Great. That's the best place to really take a chance with your scenes and see the reactions. And every time I suggest to clients, they'll call me or they'll text me or email me a couple weeks later and say, the long shot is the one that paid off, because we went in there taking a chance to be surprising, to be different. It paid off. The story doesn't have to match perfectly. People just want to see how you're thinking. How do you go about problem solving? I like the way you think. I like the scenes that you present. Products and our strategy doesn't exactly match, but you're someone I think and feel especially, and trust that I can work, because you reveal scenes to me that make sense.
Thank you so much, Bjorn, for coming on the and for telling us to focus on our scenes and just bring out that one thing.
It takes one.
Yeah.
Just takes one, and you acknowledge it, and good things will happen. Acknowledgement starts with you. Get out there and you'll find others who will acknowledge it too. Panida, thank you. I acknowledging my gratitude for you having me on this and talking about my favorite subject. And I hope we can speak again.
Thank you so much. I acknowledge you as well.
If you want the full breakdown, it's on techforfounder.com.